to LawSikho's thorough newspaper analysis for 27th of October 2023. चले आज की एजेंडा की तरफ. A very interesting editorial coming up from the Indian Express which talks about Supreme Court to hear petition challenging electoral bonds. What is the scheme and its criticism? Then we'll be talking about some interesting news update which includes national news, international news, important days, awards in sports, and lastly, the legal news update which talks about the some interesting judgments from coming up from the Supreme Court and the High Court of different states in India. Chale? Chalo. A very interesting editorial is coming up which pertains to the electoral bonds, and we'll be talking about in this editorial what is the scheme all about, why the Supreme Court will hear this particular petition which is based on electoral bonds, and why this particular scheme is challenged. Now, the first and the foremost question that why are we talking about this particular editorial? So, Supreme Court has told that the petition challenging the electoral bonds will be heard on October 31st. तो ये एक particular scheme थी which was electoral scheme. ये introduce हुई थी 2018 में, जिसमें बहुत सिंपल तरीके से money can be donated to political party in India, and this was the instrument through which money can be donated. Okay, so what is electoral bonds? Electoral bond scheme is that scheme through which the money can be donated to the political parties in India, and this was the instrument which was introduced in 2018. Now, in the April last year, the petition was filed by two NGOs named Common Cause and Association for Democratic Reforms, which challenged the scheme. Okay, so I basically in the layman language told you about the scheme. Then it was challenged before the Honorable Supreme Court by the two NGOs, and it will be heard on the October 31st. Now, the main question is, what is electoral bonds? Why are they coming into the challenged process and why are they criticized? Okay, so this was announced in 2017 Union Budget. Okay, these are the bonds which are the instrument. They are the interest fee bearer instrument which is used to donate money to the political parties in India. And one of the phenomenal thing about this particular instrument is the person who is donating, his name would be kept anonymous. That means the person named would not be revealed. Okay. Simply putting that anyone can donate to political party in India through a electoral bond scheme. Such bonds are sold in multiple जैसे कि 1,000, 10,000, lakh, 10 lakh and 1 crore. And this particular bond, अब ये next question आएगा कि bond कहाँ से purchase करेंगे? So this particular bond can be purchased from the nationalized bank named State Bank of India. Okay. Now, the political party need to encash this bond within 15 days of receiving them and fund their electoral expenses. So, when the bond has been, the bond has been given to the political party, it needs to be encashed through bank within 15 days. And if within 15 days the party has not encashed this particular bond, the SBI will deposit this bond to Prime Minister Relief Fund. Okay. Now, the first thing that comes into mind that why this particular bond was introduced. Does it was necessary in our country that this bond would be introduced? So, during the introduction of this particular scheme, Finance Minister Mr. Arun Jaitley told that even after 70 years of independence, the country has not been able to provide a transparent method of funding political party. Political party continue to receive most of their fund by the anomalous donation which are shown in cash. As therefore, to cleanse the system for donation to the political party, electoral bonds are introduced. Okay, so there were two major changes that were made that day. First was the introduction of the electoral bond for the funding to make the system more transparent. Okay, and the next was it reduced the amount of money that a political party could accept in cash. The previous was 20,000, now it came to 2,000 rupees. Okay. However, the fine print of the notification has revealed that individuals, group of individuals, NGOs, religious, other trusts are permitted to donate via electoral bonds without disclosing their details. So the donation has the person who is donating, his identity would be anomalous. Okay. So the rationale was to make the system more transparent. Now, if the system is getting more transparent, why it is challenged before Honorable Supreme Court? So the petition was filed by the two NGOs, and which have said that it is an obscure funding system which is unchecked by any authority. Okay. Also, the second contention that they put forward is electoral bond scheme was announced and there was a cap on how much a company could donate to a political party, which was 7.5% of the net profit of their preceding 3 years. However, the government amended the Companies Act to remove the limit and opened the doors to unlimited funding by the corporate. So the petitioners challenged that the amendment to the Companies Act will lead to private corporate interests taking precedent over the needs and rights of people of the state in policy consideration. So this was the first challenge. The second challenge was the anomaly of the donors under the scheme further makes the process opaque instead of meeting its aim by bringing about the transparency. It has claimed that because such bonds are sold via the State Bank of India, government, that is a government owned bank, it leaves the door open to the government to know exactly who is funding to the opponent. And this will turn to extort money from the big companies and victimize them for not funding the ruling party, either way providing an unfair advantage to the party in power. So ultimately, the government in power would know who is the donor, and this will lead to victimization. Critics such as Anjali Bharadwaj, co-convener of the National Campaign for People Right to Information, have noted that more than 75% of electoral bonds have gone to the BJP, which is in the power at the center. Further, one of the arguments for introducing electoral bond was to allow common people to easily fund the political party of their choice. But more than 90% of the bond have been of the highest denomination of rupees 1 crore as of 2022. So the purpose of bringing the electoral bond have been put is being swayed away. Big corporates, giants are donating, big denominations are coming, and the anonymity of the donor remains a big opaque and needs a discussion. So the scheme, the challenging scheme of the electoral bond would be heard by the Honorable Supreme Court on October 31st, and we'll keep you updated by this particular news. Coming up to the next national news, AU Small Finance Bank launches its first green FD. So, AU Small Finance Bank has recently launched its first green fixed deposit called Planet First AU Green Fixed Deposit to support renewable and green projects like solar power and electrical vehicles. Now, the Small Finance Bank AU joins the likes of HDFC Bank, Federal Bank, IndusLand Bank, Union Bank, DBS Bank in offering green FDs. So, these particular banks have already offered the FDs. Now, earlier in June, the Reserve Bank of India came out with the framework for acceptance of green deposits to enhance transparency and ensure that the money is used for its intended cost. As per the framework, regulated entities offering green FDs shall be required to allocate the proceeds raised through green deposit towards the green activities project which encourage energy efficiency in resource utilization. So a very big step towards the environment, which is green FD. Former Mumbai stalwart Amol Muzumdar appointed head coach of women's team. Former Mumbai captain and domestic doyen Amol Muzumdar was on Wednesday named the head of the coach of Indian women cricket team, an appointment that was on cards for the long time. Now, Muzumdar scored over 11,000 first-class runs, including 30 centuries in 171 matches during his illustrious 21-year first-class career. So, the coach for the women's cricket team has been appointed. Election Commission signs up Newton Movies Rajkummar Rao as its national icon. Election Commission of India on Thursday appointed actor Rajkummar Rao as one of their national icons ahead of 5 assembly elections this year and 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Okay. Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar and Election Commissioner Anup Chandra Pandey and Arun Goyal exchanged a memorandum of understanding with Rao in New Delhi during this event. Two phased elections to the Chhattisgarh Assembly will be held on 7th November and 17th, while the result will be announced on 3rd December. Other states heading for the poll next month is Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Telangana, Mizoram, and Chhattisgarh. So these are the 5 states who are contesting elections next month. Okay, chaliye. NCERT panel approves proposal to replace India with Bharat in textbooks. Now, the National Council of Educational Research and Training panel has approved a proposal to change the way India is referred to in school books. The proposal suggests replacing India with Bharat. According to the committee chairperson, the panel has suggested replacing the name India with Bharat in the textbook, introducing classical history instead of ancient history in the curriculum, and including the Indian knowledge system in the syllabus for all the subjects. The council recently constituted 19-member National Syllabus and Teaching Learning Material Committee to finalize the curriculum, textbooks, and learning material for their classes. Okay. Congress veteran Sushilkumar Shinde announces retirement, names daughter Praniti for Solapur Lok Sabha seat. In a very significant political development move, Congress veteran Mr. Sushilkumar Shinde has decided to quit electoral politics and proposed the name of his daughter to contest the Solapur Lok Sabha seat. Now, from being a bailiff in court and later working as an intelligence officer in Mumbai police to becoming a successful politician, Shinde has been ups and downs on politics for close to 6 decades. Shinde had lost the Lok Sabha polls from Solapur in 2014 and 2019. Shinde said that he has conveyed his wishes to the Congress High Command and it's the party that would take the final call. Okay. Paralympics champion Sumit Antil wins javelin throw gold, breaks own world record. So, Paralympics champion Sumit Antil has clinched a gold medal at the Hangzhou Asian Para Games javelin throw L64 event with the world record effort of 73.29 meter on the 3rd day of competition. Now, this 25-year-old broke his own previous record of 70.83, which he had thrown while winning gold at the World Para Athletics Championship in Paris earlier this year. International news coming up for the day. Indian Americans Ashok Gadgil, Subra Suresh awarded US highest scientific award. These 2 Indian American scientists have been awarded with the highest scientific awards in the United States for their contribution in the field of science and technology. They have been accorded with the National Medal of Technology and Innovation and National Medal of Science, respectively, in the ceremony held at White House East Room in Washington, D.C. Now, who is Ashok Gadgil? Ashok Gadgil was awarded the National Medal of Technology and Innovation for providing life-sustaining resources to communities across the world. And Subra Suresh was awarded the National Medal of Science for pioneering research across engineering, physical sciences, and life sciences. Now, the duo were among the 19 recipients of the 2 awards this year. The National Medical of Technology and Innovation is America's highest award for technological achievement and recognizes innovators whose work strengthened America's economy and improved the quality of life, as per the White House release. The National Medal of Science is the nation's highest scientific honor bestowed upon individuals deserving of special recognition for their outstanding contribution to biology, computer science, education science, engineering, geoscience, mathematical, physical science, social behavioral economical sciences as per White House release. Good guys, chale? Pakistan successfully conducts training launch of Ghauri Weapon System. So Pakistan on Tuesday has successfully conducted a training launch of the Ghauri Weapon System, according to the statement by an army a week after holding the flight test of ballistic missile Ababil weapon system. Now, the purpose of this launch was aimed at testing the operational and technical readiness of Army Strategic Forces Command. The test of the ballistic missile system, a statement by the Inter-Services Public Relation, the media wing of the army had said, was aimed at revalidating various design, technical parameters and performance evaluation of different subsystems. GCC, that is Gulf Cooperation Council, countries to roll out unified tourist visa within 2 years, UAE ministers say. Now, the Gulf Cooperation Council countries will roll out a unified Gulf tourist visa within the next 2 years. The visa will allow holders to travel to the 6 Gulf countries. Okay. Now, the tourist sector currently contributes to 14% of the UAE GDP, but the aim is to raise this figure to 18% in line with national strategic tourism objectives. Okay. So the visa will be rolled out within 2 years to allow the passengers and the tourists to travel the 6 Gulf countries. Xingzhou 17, China's youngest ever crew of astronauts heads to space station. The youngest ever crew of Chinese astronauts departed from China's space station, paving the way for the new generation of taikonauts to advance the country's space ambitions in the future. Now, tell me in the comment section what is the name of China, China's authority which defines all the space, all the mechanism for the satellites and the rocket launches. So tell me that authority's name and the organization name in the comment section. China has already kickstarted the selection process for the 4th batch of astronauts seeking candidates with doctoral degrees in discipline from biology, physics, chemistry to biomedical engineering and astronomy. It is also opening the process to applicants from Hong Kong and Macau for the first time. Okay. The legal update coming from the Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Infrastructure Leasing and Financial Services Limited versus HDFC Bank Limited, rents receivable can be assigned by data to creditor as actionable claim, and this particular judgment is coming from the Transfer of Property Act. Now, what does the court say? That the rents which are receivable by the borrower can be assigned to a lender as an actionable claim as per the Transfer of Property Act held by the Supreme Court while deciding a dispute between the Infrastructure Leasing and Financial Services Limited and HDFC Bank Limited. Now, the bench comprising Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt and Dipankar Datta observed that actionable claim means claim to an unsecured debt other than the debt secured by mortgage of immovable property, hypothecation and pledge, beneficial interest in the movable property. Both these are recognized as actionable claims. Now, the provisions of TPA and the discussion of the various authorities supported the conclusion that there can be transfer of debt which are defined as actionable claim. In the present case, the rent payable by IL and FS tenant, leases and licenses are debts which to transfer to the creditor HDFC Bank. The another Supreme Court judgment coming up in the case of state of Telangana versus Tirumala construction. State amendment made to VAT acts after GST came into effect are invalid. So the division bench held that while deciding the appeal arising from the judgments of Telangana, Gujarat, Bombay High Court with respect to validity of VAT Amendment Act in their respective state, made several significant findings regarding Section 19 of the Constitution 101st Amendment Act, which allowed the introduction of GST. So, the state said that the amendments in question made to the Telangana VAT and the Gujarat VAT Act after 2017 were correctly held void for want of legislative competence by the two High Court, that is Telangana and Gujarat. The judgment of the Bombay High Court is for above reasons held to be in error. It is set aside. The amendment to the Maharashtra Act, to the extent it required pre-deposit, is held void. So, state amendment made to VAT Act after GST came into effect are invalid, which were done by the Telangana and the Gujarat High Court. So, they are void in nature. Okay, so very important judgment coming up on the 101 Constitutional Amendment of 2016, which brought the GST into the introduction. That's all for the today's news update and the legal news. Thank you for watching. Take care.